Hello, my friends. I want to welcome you, my sisters, my brothers, near and far. Thank you for being with us. We're about to get going here. I'm giving you a chance to share, to tag somebody else. Go on, let's do it because we're going to have a great time today of conversation, chatting it up with none other than First Lady Linda Johnson Gates. So I want you to let somebody know that we're here. Listen, we're going to be talking about what it is when your passion intersects with your God-given purpose. You know, I believe that. I believe that God has put something deep down on the inside of each and every one of us, our passion, and that is designed to intersect at some point in your life with your God-given purpose, right? Still wondering what it is the Lord has called you to do? Start thinking about what it is that you really have a passion for on the inside and begin to pray about that. Okay. So I want you to share, tag somebody. And in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and introduce our guest. We're just grateful for those of you who are joining us live. And of course, we're thankful for those who will join us later. We realize that everybody doesn't come on the live feed, but we're grateful whether you join us live or you join us later. Let me tell you a little bit about our guest today. Linda Johnson Gates was a gift to the late Reverend E.M. and Mrs. Ethel Johnson in the month of January in Franklin, Kentucky. She confessed a hope in Christ at the age of 8. Isn't that something? Under the pastoral leadership of her father at Friendship Baptist Church in Horse Cave, Kentucky. See, Linda and I are both Kentucky girls. How about that? In 1968, it marked a new beginning for Reverend Johnson and his family as he was called to pastor the First Baptist Church on West 8th Street in Paris, Kentucky. Let me throw this in here. She and I were both residents of Paris, Kentucky. I remember when her family came to Paris, Kentucky. Guys, I'm telling you, this is something that we've come full circle. And here's somebody that I last saw as a teen before we were together in November when I did a book signing in Kentucky. So this is a special time, all right? So the time that they were in Kentucky, she says is a time of growth. It was a time of growth spiritually and physically, right? Not only for the Johnson family, but for the church family as well. Now, while a member first, she was part of the choir. She was a Sunday school teacher. Following that, she was part of the primary department, the youth department. This woman has been in ministry, it sounds like, for the majority of her life. Her elementary and secondary education was in Paris, Kentucky. Now listen, our teams there we call the Greyhounds. So she says she's a Greyhound for life. I love it. She's a graduate with certified travel agent. She's a graduate with certified travel agent of Sullivan Hospitality College. She was formerly with Marriott Corporation Hotel Industry in the reservation department. Now, First Lady is a faithful and dedicated member at historic Pleasant Green Missionary Baptist Church, where she is president of the 40-year Christian group. She's a member of the Mass Choir, the Pleasant Green Ensemble, and the Adult Women's VBS teacher. Whew. She's also a progressive saint under the Watch Care membership of her husband. Yes, her husband is a pastor, a dynamic pastor, a support to her at the historic First Baptist Church of Camp Nelson in Kentucky. We're going to hear about that historic First Baptist Church, all right? All right, so she's a spirit-filled First Lady. She's been employed with the Lexington Housing Authority for 23 years as a research specialist. She's married to her best friend, her biggest supporter, Reverend Robert P. Gates Sr., pastor of the historic First Baptist Church of Camp Nelson, Kentucky. Now, they're the parents of 4 adult children, okay? And they have 8 grandchildren. When you see her, you're going to be like, what? She has grandchildren? She has adult children? Yep. And she loves working in the garden with her flowers. Listen, I want to bring her on with me. I've given you some time to tag some people, to share on your own pages. But let's bring her on. Come on in, First Lady Linda. Hey.
Hey, good morning. Good
Good
morning.
morning. So good to have you on with us. I
Good to
tell you,
be here. Good to
it's
be here.
something.
It is.
It's something how we've come full circle. So let me tell everybody who grabs this live or later, you see, in context, Linda was a little bit younger than her older sister, who was my peer. And her sister and I were basically in the same grade. And then Linda was a little bit younger. And I haven't seen you for, oh my gosh, how many years was it before we went to Kentucky in November?
Oh my goodness.
40?
It has to at least.
Yeah,
Yeah.
at
Yeah.
least.
At
And
least.
so
Yes.
I remember when you all came to Paris, Kentucky, and your father took over the First Baptist Church.
Yes.
And
Yes.
it was amazing. I mean, we saw people come and go, but your family certainly made an impact
Mm,
in Paris, Kentucky.
yes.
You all
Yes.
made an impact. We certainly couldn't forget the Johnson family. So I am just privileged to have you here with us today. You're now a First Lady.
Yeah. Yes. Who knew, who saw
Who
that
knew?
coming? Certainly not me.
Yeah, yeah. And on top of that, we know that God has blessed you to do some magnificent things in ministry. And we're going to talk a little bit about that. But because you are a woman in ministry, I
Mhm.
just know that you're going to be able to share some things that will inspire other women who are listening, right? Who are with us
Mhm.
and those who will join us later. And so, we open up talking about when passion meets purpose. But at the same time, I've shared a little bit about how I know you or came to know you as someone who moved to Paris. But just tell us a little bit more about, who is Linda Johnson Gates? How would you answer that?
How would I answer that? Well, I would answer that by saying Linda Johnson Gates is someone who is uh, passionate, very passionate, and serious about her relationship with Jesus Christ and the impact
Mhm.
that it has on others. I would also say that I am the middle child in my family, and some of that stuff they say about the middle children is also true, because I'm saying that because it took me a little time to find my space.
Okay.
It took me a little time, and I'm saying that because, and I didn't find it like right away. Sometimes it takes a little time to get there. For someone who is out there listening and says, I don't know where I belong, just hang in there, because it'll come. It'll
Yeah.
come.
Yeah.
Um, I love sports. As you said, I am a greyhound for life. I love uh I love sports. I love basketball. I love football. I love it all. I love it all. My dad one time threatened. He said, "You keep this up, I'm gonna buy you a team. What do you want? An NFL team? What do you want? I'm gonna have to get that for you because you all in there." Um, and I'm just a woman who I enjoy every day. I
Yeah.
make it a point to enjoy every day. I don't care what's happening. There is always a positive and always something to learn every
Yeah.
day. So I enjoy life. I just enjoy it. I'm getting ready to retire soon, and my husband has
Ooh.
already purchased an RV, and we tested it out once, and he's like, "We getting ready to get on the road, girl."
All
So,
right. Got to come to the DMV,
hey,
DC,
hey,
Maryland, Virginia. Come on up here. We're ready
well,
for
come
you.
on up.
Well, let's just greet some people here today. Good to see you, Charlene Sissy Gar. She's my sister. Yeah, my biological sister, and
Yes.
also First Lady, a middle child. So, anybody else on here who's a middle child, we're going to speak to that today because there's purpose for you. We know there's passion inside of you. As Linda says, sometimes it's hard to find your place, but you do have a place.
That's right.
Belinda, hey, good to see you, Belinda. Cheryl, I'm so glad you got on board. Elaine and Stephanie, so glad. Stephanie is my niece. Stephanie Bishop. Pepper Moss, hey, she's one of our women in ministry. Oh, and there's your hubby.
Oh,
Pastor, good to see you, Pastor Gates. Good to see you on. Yes, Sister Ronnie Watts, good to see you. It's good to have you. Barbara is a faithful women in ministry supporter. Barbara Smith, Good to see you, Kim Washington. You were able to get on. She's been a guest here several times.
All
Just
right.
want to acknowledge people for jumping on with us.
Yeah.
Minister Huntley, hey, it's good to see you. And Lillian Nelson, Dr. Carol. Dr. Carol has been on here. She is the author of Reading with Jesus, getting these young people reading. And then Sister Crystal, good to see you, Crystal. Yes, indeed, Crystal's going to be a guest on here really soon. So, hey, here we go. You all continue to share, continue to tag somebody. And let's get going. All right, let's see what we got here. So somebody says they're a middle child and can very much identify. Yeah, that's my sister.
Yes.
So, it's something though when we relate as, women in ministry, and there's so much that you do. And most of us as women in ministry, we find ourselves doing so many things because remember, we have children, we have spouses, right? Many have outside jobs, things that we do, or they're self-employed. But how do you go about finding your purpose? Because I know that, our lives kind of like changed throughout the years. In other words, I'm not doing the same thing I was doing necessarily 20 years ago, but I'm still engaged with women in ministry because that's my huge part of my call. I'm called to women in ministry, and not only women, but I minister with men as well. And so, what would you say though about finding your purpose? Let's just chat about that a minute. And you all here who are here with us, join the conversation. You know how we like to do that. Go ahead and chat in so that we can all be a part of this conversation. So, how is it that you find your purpose?
Well, I think that the way you find your purpose, if you have to find that thing that fits you. You can't, because sometimes we do things out of obligation. We will do things because somebody said so.
Come on.
And that's not for you. I had a friend one time at a church where we were, because lots of times the first thing people want to do when they join the church is join the choir. Yeah. And he would tell folks sometimes in a very loving manner, baby, there's an usher badge with your name on it, because this is not your purpose here. So you need to find that thing that fits you. We are all born with different likes, dislikes, characteristics. Some people like to read. Some people like to, exercise or whatever.
That's true.
So find that thing that fits you. And when you find that thing that fits you, because you're gonna, now in the finding of this thing, you're gonna inquire of the Lord. You're gonna inquire and ask him, all right, is this where I need to be? But in finding that thing that fits you, you're gonna flourish in that thing because it fits you. It fits you. It fits your lifestyle. You don't have to bend and stretch and get all out of shape. It's like, oh, this is it. This is it.
Yeah. You said something really powerful there. And when you started out in terms of us trying to sometimes please others, I think even in our adult lives, we have to do a check because sometimes people are still trying to please parents who have already transitioned and they've gone on with the Lord, but they find that they're doing this or they're doing that because they thought that that's what their parents wanted them to do. Or maybe we're trying to live up to the expectations of other people, like you said. And that may be why we're not finding that satisfaction in ministry. You also said something about stretching, bending, stretching. And I believe that somewhere along the line, the Lord begins to stretch us. And so I'm going to say this, First Lady. Sometimes what you're dealing with in your mind may not look like you. You're like, Lord, did you really call me to this?
Did you?
Yes. Right? And the Lord, because you said we have to seek the Lord, and the Lord will have to just share with us that, listen, this is you. This is what I made you for, but I have to stretch you. You're going to be stretched, right? Because we can get so comfortable in a thing. And so that's why I said years ago, you might have been doing this, but understand that God may be changing things in terms of your narrative. And so I
Right.
want to say this to everybody who's on and those who will grab it later. Some of you may be saying, well, I'm not sure what I'm supposed to be doing. Well, maybe it's because you're still trying to do the same thing you've always done.
Mm-hmm.
And God is
Mm-hmm.
saying, do something different.
And you will, in that stretching, and that you'll know if it's a positive stretch or a negative stretch. If that thing
Mm,
keeps hanging on, if you
mm-hmm,
can't shake that
mm-hmm.
thing, even though you may be frightened, let me tell you, I was so quiet. I know nobody's believing this, but I was so quiet when I was growing up that the teachers told my parents, they said, we don't even know if she's in the classroom.
Mm.
If you ask her a direct question, she will answer it. But we don't know that she's in the classroom. Now, my brother, on the other hand, he comes into the room and it's like, ba-bam, here I am. But me, that was not me at
Yeah,
all. But there was this tugging, I guess, a tugging
yeah.
that kept tugging me in a different direction. And sometimes it can be a little frightening because you do get comfortable. I've been doing this for 400 years. I don't know why I have to change it now.
Mm,
And he'll tug, but he will tug on your heart. And I'm telling you, when he tugs on you, when he tugs on your heart and
mm-hmm.
lets you know, it is like, ah, okay, okay.
Yeah,
I see my purpose coming. And then, we have this, sometimes we think we know better than what
yeah,
God
yeah,
knows. And sometimes we hear that and you
yes.
hear it clearly. And you're like, and like you said, Pastor Leslie, we hear it clearly and we'll be like, uh, I don't think that's what he's saying.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it will not let you go.
It will not let you go.
It
It will
won't
not
let you
let you
go.
go.
No.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
you're gonna have to Jeremiah said, it's like fire shut up in my bones.
I
You
know.
cannot let that thing go.
Got to do something with that,
You gotta
right?
do something with
Got
it.
to do something with it. Our
Mm-hmm.
sister Kim Washington says she's living in the stretch right now.
Yeah.
What she's experiencing is an ease, right?
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
And that assures her that God is leading. But I want to tell you all something. Sometimes you're not going to have that. Sometimes it's going to be where you feel that pressure or opposition um, all along the way. But it doesn't mean it's not God because He's going to show Himself. He's going to prove Himself, right?
Right.
He's going to
Right.
prove Himself. Pastor Masih, good to see you, my ministry partner. He's there in Pakistan. Thank you for joining us, Pastor Masih. So good to have you on. Deborah, good to have you on. Mary, good to have you on. Listen, we're continuing the conversation. I want you all to uh, put in some comments here and let us know what it's like for you finding your voice. Good to see you, Anna Allen Edwards with the Consolidated Baptist District Women's Auxiliary. Good to
Yay!
have you on board with us. We're talking about finding your purpose, but this is the thing too. You talked about growing up and being so quiet. And
Mhm.
so there comes a point when we have to find our voice,
Yes.
right? And so when you talk about finding your voice, you may not be someone who's like uh, me, who talks. But at the same time, finding your voice has a lot to do with finding the space where you're supposed to be and
Right.
making a difference. Don't you think?
I absolutely think that
Yeah. What do you
finding
say
your
about that?
finding your voice does not always mean that you are on a platform
Yeah.
with an audience or a group or whatever, or that you are leading the women's ministry or leading that class. That's not what that means.
Okay.
It means what finding your voice means is whenever you are in that, just living your daily life and you are in that situation, you're going to be talking with people, speaking with people, and you will have an impact on
Mm-hmm.
them. Now, you're a woman of God, so they're going to see something different in you. They should.
Yeah.
And when you speak with them, just in general conversation, there's going to be something about your voice. I'm going to tell you what I found out that I had this voice. Okay. I
Yes.
had been working with this young lady. We worked together for years, 4 years. And she was rough. She was a little rough. I work for housing, and I always thought, "Ooh, she's so mean to the residents. She's just mean to them." And then I would say to myself, "Well, you know what? I don't really know what her life is, and there's a why behind
Mm-hmm.
everything a person does. There's a reason." And I
Yeah.
was like, "Well, whatever she's going through." So she finally left. Years later, we actually had to work on a project together. Her department and my department, we had to work on something together, and she and I had to work on this together. And she sent me an email, and she said, "You didn't think I was listening,
Mm.
but I heard everything you said." And she said, "Those things that you told me when I worked in that office with you, I have carried them to this job where I am now."
That's
She
powerful.
says, "Some of the things were just instructional." She said, "But I want you to know I listened to everything you said."
Mm.
And she said to me, "You may not realize it, but you have an impact."
Mm.
She said, "And people are listening to you.
Mm-hmm.
So just keep using your voice because they're listening."
Mm.
And so you never know. I had a young woman who I grew up with, and I think I sent her a happy birthday or something. I can't remember even what it was. I think it was her birthday. And she said, "I remember our conversations. Thank you." So
Wow.
find your voice. Find
Yes.
your voice.
Yes.
When you are having conversations with folk, be serious, be
Mm-hmm.
authentic.
Mm-hmm.
And let me tell you something, be joyful about your relationship with Jesus Christ. Go on and
Yes.
give him the credit. Go ahead, just
Yes.
give it to him.
Give him
It's
the credit.
okay.
Yes.
He deserves it.
That's
Give him
right.
the credit. When someone asks you, "How you making it today?" Go on and give him the credit for that. Boast in your weakness. You're gonna boast of him.
Yes.
Okay. And because
Mm-hmm.
that your voice is going to lend to not only to boosting that person, not only to boosting yourself, but maybe your voice is just going to be the one that person needs to hear, so
Yes.
that they can say, "Okay, that Jesus Christ thing, it really works. I
Mm-hmm.
can see it in her. I can hear it in her voice. The things she says, they stand." Okay. They don't fall. They don't change from day to day or week to week.
There you
Those
go.
things stand.
They stand.
So
Yes.
find your voice at your home, at your job, when you're in the grocery store and eggs are $6 million. Find your voice. Find your
Feels like that,
voice.
right?
Yes.
Find
Yes.
your voice. But First Lady, this is the thing. A word just spoken in season
Yes.
can do so much good. It can turn somebody from uh, contemplating suicide, just a word
Yes.
spoken in season. So I'm saying, as you have that unction, like you said, in the grocery store or on your job, maybe you don't even know why, but the Lord is leading you just to say to somebody, you know what, you matter.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever it is, whatever the
Whatever
Lord
it is.
brings in your spirit, don't throw that away and just say, "Oh, they don't want to hear what I have to say," because you never know. A word spoken in season can change someone's trajectory
Yes,
in
it
life,
can.
right? Change the direction,
Right.
because like you said, we don't know what people are dealing with. We just
Right.
don't know, but the Lord knows. The Spirit of
That's
the
right.
Lord knows. And this is why we embrace relationship, as you talked
Mm.
about. We're embracing relationship, not religion. People say,
Right.
"Oh, that religion, what religion you're part of?" Well, I have relationship with the Lord Jesus Christ. He
Thank you.
speaks to me. He walks with me. He
Yes.
directs me. That's
Yes.
different from religion, right?
Mm-hmm.
And systems. So I
Yes.
just appreciate you sharing all of that. Let's go over and see what our partners are saying. So Crystal is saying, years before quitting my job, it was always this echo saying to walk away. I got so uncomfortable on my job because I wasn't obedient that God put me in a position that all I could do was leave. Okay, now we've seen that.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, where the Lord
Hey.
is saying, do this, and then it comes to the point where whatever that is, the Lord said, okay, you don't have any, there are no other options for you, right? So it pushed
Right.
me into entrepreneurship, and I haven't looked back. All right,
All
Krista,
right.
bless you. Continue, because God's going to prosper what He has started in you, right? And
Right.
Anna Allen Edwards says, Sister Linda has found her voice and it's walking in her purpose. I've seen her metamorphosis and she's a beautiful butterfly in the Lord. So somebody else is hearing your voice. And this is something too, First Lady. I believe that oftentimes when we say our voice, people
Mm-hmm.
are, as well, we want to say people watch what we do
Yes.
even more so than what
Yes.
we say, right?
Yes.
We can quote scriptures all day, but
Mm-hmm.
they want to look and see, well, what are you living? What does that look like, right? Oh, your baby sister's on here, First Lady.
Oh,
Renee Johnson Burns. She says,
that's
good
my
morning
baby.
from Linda's baby sister. Hi, Renee. All right. And then that's an important lesson to learn. I don't know which one that was, but Lady Kim Washington is saying that's an important lesson to learn. We're so driven by seeing our impact that we forget that increase belongs to God.
Mm-hmm.
We plant or water, but the increase
That's
is
right.
His business. Let's grab that because you
That's
know what? That's so important. You may
mm-hmm.
plant. The Lord has me come along behind you. I don't know what you've done, but what
Right.
I'm doing is watering, but it's
Right.
God who really gives the
Who gets the
increase. You
increase?
have anything
We're
to
not
say about that? Because I
responsible.
think that's powerful.
That is powerful. We are only responsible for our part,
Our
which
part.
also goes with finding your purpose.
All right.
Find your purpose. I have a
Yes.
friend, somebody will be asking her to do something. She's like, I know that is not my ministry. If you know that is not your ministry, I don't care
Yeah.
who's asking you to do it.
Yeah.
If you know that is not your ministry, then just say, that's not my ministry.
Yes.
Because you can God, he already has the plan. He has the plan, y'all, and he has the plan that is so much better than anything we can
Mm-hmm.
come up with.
Yes.
So yes, you just he's going to give that increase if you are planted where he has once you planted. He's
Yes.
going to give that and look at this. Now you might not always see it. You might not get to see it. Sometimes you will.
So,
Sometimes you won't.
mm-hmm.
It might not be for you to see because
Yeah.
maybe he we in our humanness, if
Mm-hmm.
he shows us, we might get a little like, ooh, I did that. We might.
It might.
So he doesn't always let us see the thing come to an end, but
Mm-hmm.
but we still do our part, as
Yes.
the young lady said. We do the part that has been assigned to us. Take care of
Mm-hmm.
that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That goes back to what you were saying earlier about walking in areas where people have pushed us or pulled us. And it's not really a God thing. And
Right.
as you said that, I began to think about no, which is so hard for some of us to
Mm-hmm.
just say is
Yes.
no. We think we
Yeah.
have to say yes to everything that we're asked to do, and we're miserable.
Yes.
People are on
We are.
jobs that they're miserable
Yes.
on, right? Because as Crystal said, there came a time when she didn't have any other um, way out but to just leave, right? There
But
was
to just
no
leave. Yes.
other option, is what I want to say.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes just saying no, even in circles of ministry, you find people who
Yes.
are on the usher board, then they're in the choir, then they're in
Mm-hmm.
this auxiliary, then they do that.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, how are you doing all of that? Is all of that really a
And you're
part of your
not doing
purpose?
it, and you're probably not doing it well. And I
Okay.
know, like growing up, my father, was five of us. So
Uh-huh.
when my father was going somewhere to preach or whatever, he was like, "Oh, I got my choir. Y'all don't have to worry. I got, you know." Okay, so here we go. But we
Yeah.
did. My older sister, Princess, and I were
Yeah.
talking one day about the fact that we think we did everything, and then sometimes people will assume, because I've had this happen many many times. If your husband is pastor, they just assume you are supposed to be over the children's ministry.
Okay.
Let me assure you, that is not my ministry. Working with these, that is not.
Yeah. And you got to know that, right? You have to
Right. But
know.
I had to know that, like you said. And I mean, people know, like, no, this is not for me. And it is okay.
Yeah.
Find where you are supposed to be, because
Yeah.
you may be a good usher, but if your purpose, your given purpose is to teach the adult women's Bible study, that blessing is getting, those folks who should be receiving from you are not getting it, because
Mm,
you're over here on the usher board, and the Lord has
wow.
something for you specifically
Yeah.
to do. But because Aunt Jane was an usher, and Granny was an usher, and all them were ushers, and
Now
so
you're
I'm
going to be an
supposed
usher.
to be on the usher board.
Mm-hmm.
Might
Yeah.
not be.
Yeah. How powerful is that? Because as you said that, I thought about the body with
Uh-huh.
all the members, right?
Yes.
We're not talking about church membership, but as the
Yes.
scriptures speak about the body being many members, the hands, the feet, the arms, the legs, right? The
Right.
eyes, the nose. If we're out of place, then
Uh-huh.
there's another area that's not able to function
That's right.
as it should, right? If the
Uh-huh.
hand continues to try to be the ear, then this body is not going to work properly, right? If
It's
we
just
say, I
not.
don't need the feet, you're going to find out real quickly you need those feet,
You need to
because that's the
speak.
only way
Mm-hmm.
you can get from point A to point B, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
And so,
Right. So
yeah, go ahead.
I was just saying, so you have, when you in searching for that purpose, you have to
Yeah,
find out. You have to find out between you and God. Go on and have a conversation with him. He'll open it up to you,
sure will.
and he will lead you in that particular purpose. Now, the
Yeah.
folks on the usher board might get upset because they were counting on you to be there that fourth Sunday, but they'll be okay.
They'll be
I
all right.
promise you,
Yeah.
they will
Yeah.
be okay.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes. Yes.
yeah, because
Yeah.
lots of times when you're finding your purpose, um, people around you, when you say, "Well, I know the Lord is leading me to do this." That's why you don't tell everything.
Okay.
Joseph, don't be Joseph,
Mm-hmm.
telling everything.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you just have to kind of keep that
Yes.
between you and God, because people will definitely deter you or try to get
Mm-hmm.
you off track or try to keep you where they think you should be.
Oh, that's powerful.
So
Yeah.
when you're searching for your purpose, don't get deterred. Now, Jesus said, I came, uh it's not going to be peace, or may not be peace around you. Like, there may be folks upset or chaos or whatever about that decision that you have made following the leadership of the Holy Spirit.
Yes.
But you can have peace
Come
about
on.
it.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
Everybody else might be wonder why she's doing that. You
Yeah.
don't, as long as you have peace
Yes.
about it, and the folks that you need to affect because of this choice that you've made, that's okay, because they're going to get it. They're going to get
Mm-hmm.
it. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes you have to, sometimes you got to let family go. Sometimes you have to let those friends, and you may have been friends forever. It's like
Mm-hmm.
Pastor Leslie said, there are seasons, and Jesus works in seasons. What does Solomon tell us? There's a time
Mm.
for everything.
Everything.
For everything, there's a time. And
Yes.
so when you're seeking your purpose, and I'm sure that folks on here have been through that, but just as a word of encouragement, if you feel like you out there by yourself, but this is the purpose that he has for you, just hang on in there.
Yes,
Just
it.
hang on in there.
Yes, yes, yes. I
Mm-hmm.
like what Minister Huntley is saying, that letting go of what can potentially hold you back is necessary. And you
Yes,
said
it
it could
is.
be people, places, things, right? You didn't say it
Yes.
that way, but really that's what it boils down to. And sometimes on the way
Mm-hmm.
to our God-given destiny, there's so many bumps in the road. I think about Joseph's brothers, thinking they were going to kill the dream just by killing him, getting rid of
Mm-hmm.
him. But the
Yeah.
dream is God's given dream. It's God given. And so
Right.
we have to just trust and rest in that, right? Kim Washington is saying that's how we get burned out, right? We're not in our purpose, so we're not experiencing the grace that's needed for that position. It's a chore and it's a burden. And so
Yes.
sometimes I think that's a good way for us to think about, let's check this. I mean, Joseph, of course, needed to check that in the pit and also in the prison. But
Mm-hmm.
even if he checked it, he found that God was doing something in him. And that may be for us. It may be, okay, this is not necessarily meaning you out of the will. But I think what she's saying here is so key, because we have to find out that when we're constantly dealing with something that seems to be a chore and a burden, but when we walk where God intends, there's a certain peace and a grace that comes to help us complete the task,
That's right.
regardless of the challenge, right?
Regardless of the challenge,
Yeah,
you
regardless of the
can make
challenge.
it.
So that
Mhm.
means, First Lady, Lady Linda, that we will have at times challenges, right?
Yes.
But as Renee says, your sister says, know that you're listening to the Lord
Yeah.
and not people.
And
When you
not
have that assurance, it's like,
people.
Lord, you led me here.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
led me here. I
You let
trusted that you led me here. Now tell me
That's
what
right.
to do. Tell me
Tell me
what to
what
do.
to do.
Show me.
Mm-hmm. I
Show me.
think
Mary
about
says, we need to make ourselves available so the Lord can guide us to
mm-hmm.
manifest his purpose and will.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And
Mm-hmm.
then I'm just loving this comment. Charlene Sissy Gar says, or they will keep you where they want you to be to
Come
fill a
on.
post
Come on.
or a position.
Come on.
That's
Yes,
right.
they
That's right.
will. They sure
How
will.
many?
I'm
How many are
telling you.
just filling posts and positions right now, First Lady?
Mm, yeah. How many?
How many?
I
How
got
many of
over
us?
that.
I'm not excluding myself, but how
Yeah.
many?
Listen,
Right?
I had to work on that. And
Me
when you
too.
give up the post and you think in the back of your mind, well, who's going to do it?
Yeah.
Well, you haven't been here since the beginning of time, so somebody was doing it before you got here.
Yeah.
And guess what? You probably won't be here till the end of time, so someone is going to have to do that when you leave. So,
Yeah.
and sometimes what happens when we step out of the way, that person who that purpose is actually meant for gets to step in.
Isn't that something?
And that's
Isn't that
something.
something that we think sometimes in some areas we have to stay in a position forever and ever, amen, and
Uh-huh.
never move for anybody behind us to come along?
Never. Yeah.
What do
Yeah.
you think about God aligning us so that we're in a position to reach back and
Yes.
pull somebody
And
else?
pull
Whatever
somebody.
happened to that? It's like, I
Mhm.
need to reach back. I need to
Yes.
pour into somebody else and help prepare them.
And
Right?
listen, you are not the sole owner.
Hmm.
You are not the sole owner. We serve a great big old God,
Come on with that.
and He has all of us here with all these different gifts. Can you imagine? Okay, so would you really want to live in a world where everybody was exactly the same, thought the
Hmm.
same, felt the same, did the same all day, every day? How much fun would that be?
Boring.
It would be so boring.
Yeah.
So I am so excited that our God has said, okay, I'm gonna give Sister Leslie, she's gonna have the ability to write these books and lead this ministry. He said, I'm gonna give Sister Anna that gift of being that we sometimes call it the gift of gab, because she can talk you into almost anything. But yeah, I'm gonna give her that. She's
Yeah.
gonna use that over there. My sister, my baby sister Renee, she's a giver. She's generous. She just oozes generosity. So don't think that you have to stay in that place. Don't you let people keep you somewhere where you don't need to be. I'm telling you, it was a huge stress reliever when I realized, and sometimes in my case, and I'm sure other folks may have felt this too, because your father is the pastor, and then you marry a pastor, they've already put you in the space.
Yes.
And you're not supposed to get outside that space. Let me tell you, I was greatly relieved when I realized I don't have to stay in the space that they say.
Right.
I need to find out where the Lord intends for me to do his bidding.
Yes.
And to do it well.
Yes.
And to do it the way that he has meant for me. not
Yes.
for anybody else, but just for Linda Carroll Johnson Gates. This is what I need. This is
Yes.
how I find my purpose. And then go ahead and carry it out. Carry it out. It will be, it's not going to be easy every day. It's not. I mean, it wasn't easy for Jesus, and he knew exactly what was going to happen to him. It's
Yes.
not like he came and he said, well, I wonder what, I wonder what that's going to be like when they put me on that cross. No, ma'am. He knew.
Mm.
And even in his knowing, it didn't make it easier. He still prayed in that garden like great uh, 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 drops of blood in that
Yes.
garden, because
Yes.
he knew it wasn't going to be. This was not going to be a fun time, because I'm
Yes.
going to be fully human when this is happening to me. But in
Mm.
my full godness, I know exactly what is going to happen to me, and I know how that is going to feel
Yeah.
to my
Yeah.
body. And so, yeah, yeah.
You know, thank you for sharing that. This is one thing I want to say. I thank you for walking down that road of a first lady, um, finding her gifts.
Mm-hmm.
Because, see, this is the thing that I feel we in the church are robbed of, and that is, what is it that God has deposited into our
Mm-hmm.
first lady? Because, see, so many first ladies are just, and they're supposed to hold up the arms of their husbands,
Right.
who are their pastors.
Mm-hmm.
Yet at the same time, we must understand, and for those of you who are on here, I want you to get this, is that our God is so creative. And there's nobody on this platform whom God has not given something. You
Yes.
have something inside. You have gifts. We're talking about finding your gift right now. You have
Mm-hmm.
gifts. You have a destiny. You have a purpose. And when we have first ladies who totally just become somebody who's just obscured, because what
Mm-hmm.
they do is just push and push, and their husbands allow them to do that, just to push the husband, but they're never saying, look, honey, you have gifts inside of you. I want the people to experience you. You see,
Mm-hmm.
they'll experience me through you. I'm talking as the husband. They'll experience me still. I'm not losing anything, but
Mm-hmm.
I think the body loses so much, the body of Christ,
Yes.
when we have what we call first ladies, and that title is not biblical, but we
Right.
understand it and we appreciate it and we celebrate it. But I certainly want us to get to the place where we can honor the gifts that are within first ladies, right? These women who
Yeah.
sit among us, such as yourself, and they're
Mm-hmm.
full of so much, but we never experience it. Why?
Yes.
Because we think that their position is to be quiet and just to be there as an arm of
Mm-hmm.
their spouse, when the spouse could go so much higher if the woman
Yes.
was walking in the gifting that God has given her, because he's called them together for a purpose. I
For a
think that's
purpose.
so wonderful
Mm-hmm.
that God has called them together for purpose. And I just appreciate women as yourself, first
Mm-hmm.
ladies. I've been a first lady. I was a first lady in Korea, at Yongsan Air Force Base with
Mm-hmm.
military. That's several years ago. I don't even think Yongsan Base is still there anymore. But it was a really interesting time to be a first lady, because first ladies go through so many other things that people are not aware of, right?
Yes. Oh
And a lot
yeah.
of times you're suffering in silence.
Yeah.
But I see Gloria saying church folk can cripple us if we're not secure in who we are in God. And
Yes.
I believe that. Sister Oretta, thank you for joining us. She says, I'm learning that when you step into your purpose, that we not allow people to confirm us to do exactly like they do it,
That's
and
right.
not allowing the hand of God to guide you. Now, you know what? That's powerful, because some of us, all we have is the person who's gone before us as
Mm-hmm.
that example. But God, remember, is creative, and we want Him to help you to be you, me to be me, right?
Right. Right.
And so you've seen other first ladies, but you don't have to be like that first lady, because you have gifts
Oh,
within you. Yes, pull the things that you can, those positive
right.
things.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, God has put something in you. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
When we're in the wrong place, Lady Kim says, when we're in the wrong place, we're holding up our destiny
Yeah.
and the intended persons as well. We
Mm-hmm.
want God. This is just my heartbeat. God, I want you to grow all of us, everybody who's attached to me. I want God to do a great work in them, right?
Mm-hmm.
To build them, to inspire them. But you know what, First Lady? That means it starts with us.
It starts with us. It starts with us, and it starts with your relationship with Jesus Christ. You have
Man,
to have that in line, and
yes,
that has to be paramount to anything else. Is that
yes.
relationship with Jesus Christ? And you're speaking about husbands and first ladies. My husband has told me. He tells me all the time when a situation comes about, and I'll talk to him about it. If I speak somewhere or even go somewhere and sing or whatever, he says, "It's my job to push you. It is my job
Love it.
to support you." Let me
Yes.
tell you, when he found out that I was doing this today, he's like, "Okay, let me get on it. It's my job to make sure that you have a comfortable place to sit, that it's presentable, just things like that." He said, "That is my job. When I'm doing anything, he is always there. He's a support. He
Mhm.
really is. He is a support, and he he told me one time. He said, "I see things in you." He said, "I don't, I," he said, "I know you don't see them yet." He said, "But they're coming." He said, "Because I see things
Mm.
in you."
Yeah. Yeah.
And I mean, it is, and it gives me what it does. It encourages me. It gives me the freedom to move about in
Yes.
my relationship with Jesus Christ, in my purpose. It
Yes.
gives me the freedom to find my voice. It gives me the freedom to work in my gifting, because
Oh,
he's not going to do anything to hold me back. And as he said, uh, if I lift you up, that lifts me up.
there
And
you go. Yes.
together, he
Yes.
says, the Lord is working to
Yes.
get when we're on this together. So
Yes.
yeah, and don't, and and like someone was saying, I'm sorry, I don't remember who it was, about how the people will put those labels on you.
That's right.
You don't live by a label.
That's
Labels
right.
rip off. Look, you can rip a
There you go.
label off in a minute. They'll, and then you'll have another label, and you're
Hmm.
never, ever, ever, ever gonna please everybody. So just make sure that you're finding your purpose, your voice,
Yes.
your gifts through your relationship with Jesus Christ, because he does so much more. What did he say? He says, more abundantly than
Exceeding,
you can even
exceeding
ask or
abundantly.
think. So I can't even think it. And he's
Yes.
already like, yeah, hey, I've got this for you over here. You can't even reach that yet.
My, my, my. My,
Yeah.
my. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, listen, this has been great. I'm hoping we'll be able to come together again, right?
Yeah.
It's been great having you today.
Thank
I don't
you.
know if you have any final words before we get off here. I certainly want to thank our guest, First Lady Linda Johnson Gates. But I also want to thank all of you who've been here. You've been so active during this time. We're grateful for your comments, for your input. Others will be able to see those as they come across. That's why I'd like for you to chat in, because it's a conversation. It's a conversation. It's so important to find your voice, right? To identify with your passion. Yes, find your purpose. First Lady, do you have any parting words before we get off here today?
Before we get up here, I just want you ladies, make sure you take the time to find your purpose, find your gift, find your voice. Thank you, Pastor Leslie, for having me. I was humbled by the invitation. I hope that I have said something today that will help you carry on a little while longer. Ladies, that will help you as you search for your purpose. And remember, it's not always going to be the same. It will change. But I hope I've said something that will just help to inspire you in that way. Blessings to each of you, and blessings to this ministry.
Thank you.
That is reaching out to so many men and women. It's reaching out and helping and lifting up. And that's what it's all about. I believe you have found your purpose, ma'am.
Part of it anyway, right?
Right.
I love it.
For this season.
Yes, I love
Yes.
it. And I would be remiss not to mention our Uganda partners. So I just want to give a shout out to those in Uganda who are part of this ministry today. So thank you all for being with us. We want to just say, have a great day. Have a great afternoon.
Guys.
Lady Linda, God bless you.
Bless you.
Everybody, have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Listen, join us the next time. Look out for our feeds when we're sharing who's going to be on with us, because somewhere down the line, we're going to have Lady Linda back with us again.
Oh,
all right. God bless you.